All right, Nick, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of noise in the Steelers sphere about offensive coordinator. Maybe he's going to another team. Maybe he's not. But there's some even better news, I think, we've heard from head coach Mike Tomlin talking about what this team is going to do going forward, especially offensively, play a little bit more winning football. I think this is only good news for the Steelers going forward. But first, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, head coach Mike Tomlin came out and gave some interesting information that the Steelers, they're going to switch things up. They're going to make sure that they're always prepared and running the right plays at the right times and having the right personnel on the field as well. Let's get into the article and we talk more about it on the other side. This is from pinlive.com. It says head coach Mike Tomlin made it clear on Tuesday there will be some schematic tweaks. One key tweak will not be schematics in short yardage situations or red zone, but substitution and personnel packages. On one play against the Browns, on a 3rd and 3, the offensive coordinator Arthur Smith had the team in 13 personnel. That's 3 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and 1 running back, for those of you who don't know. However, the players on the field were Darnell Washington, McCole Pruitt, Pat Fryermuth, Ben Skoranek, and Jaylen Warren. That is not winning football, and Smith made it clear that this will change on Sunday. We've got to get better in there with those substitutions. Smith said, you don't want to call a timeout, and you got to trust that the right guy's got a helmet on. That's part of it too. That's why I'm careful answering questions. You want to be transparent, and you know what happened, but then it sounds like an excuse. We certainly need to be better, and that was not the intent if that's what you're asking. So it sounds like Arthur Smith has come out and said, hey, there's some hiccups, there's some things, but we're making a concerted effort to make sure we have the best personnel package on the field possible. I think this is going to make a pretty big difference going forward. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Steelers fans, in the comment section below, coming up, this is a big one. I think the Steelers, they really need to get things on the road here. They need to get a bounce back win, get to come up against divisional rival at Cincinnati Bengals. I think it would be a huge one. Let us know what your thoughts on the score is going to be in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about these personnel changes for the Steelers?
Yeah, and I think it's part of a larger theme about Mike Tomlin being the head man, and this is what Tomlin's great at. And I know some Pittsburgh fans maybe aren't high on him just because the postseason success hasn't come, but he's really good, and a lot of great coaches follow the same track. They're very good at making things simple and saying, okay, what can we fix to get incrementally better? Any leader, whether it's in business, politics, charity, church, whatever, the best leaders at the top are the guys who look for things they can clean up and fix a little bit that have outsized impacts. And personnel decisions are a huge part of that. And I agree 100% with Tomlin's comments. Too often, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively this year, it's been a lot better in terms of schematic and strategy compared to Matt Canada. Granted, it can only go up from there. But the reality is they've had a lot of issues in making sure they had great personnel groupings to insert a lot of confusion into defenses. Here's what I mean by this. Look at the Detroit Lions. They obviously are continuing to be a juggernaut, winning a lot of football games, doing great things offensively. When they go out, they've got 2 tight ends, right? Let's say they have 2 tight ends and 1 running back and 2 receivers. That could be Amon-Ra St. Brown. That could be Jameson Williams. That could be Sam LaPorta. They're blocking tight end and one of their 2 good running backs. The Lions can do anything out of that formation, right? They could run power football. They could play action. They could do standard drop back. They could go 4 wide receiver, right, and split out the tight ends. They could do everything with that personnel grouping. Having that grouping on the field doesn't change anything. Even if they swapped out, say, Jameson Williams and brought on another tight end, it would still insert enough confusion to where defenses would have to say, okay, that's still Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got to rotate coverage towards him. All right, they got a good receiving tight end. We got to account for that, right? It makes the defense work more. The personnel package you brought up during the story is an example of the Steelers trying to go bigger personnel, but they don't have the greatest package to insert any confusion in the defense. You don't want the defense to ever know, okay, we know there's no receiving threat on the field. We know there's no big play threat. We can sell out on the run, or vice versa. Okay, we know they've got no blocking tight ends or blocking fullbacks in the game. We can drop back in some soft zone coverage. You never want to give the defense that opportunity. The Steelers, a few times this season, have. I think Mike Tomlin understands that correcting that and making sure they have the right personnel, the right people on the field will go a long way for this team improving down the stretch. And we're going to see a little bit more of not just the right personnel groupings, but the right personnel. And to switch gears slightly, I think one guy we're going to see a lot more out is Jaylen Warren down the stretch. There's a great tweet over at Derek Brown at FFB. He posted this talking about Jaylen Warren, is that last week he had a season high 57% of the snaps, 67% of those in the red zone. He's got a 28% missed tackle rate, 2.6 yards after contact per attempt. Basically, what it means is Jaylen Warren's playing really, really good football. He should be on the field more. And that goes right in line to what we're seeing. And he's getting on the field more. Of Mike Tomlin saying, okay, let's get the best players on the field. Let's not get hung up on, okay, we want to make sure we have 3 tight ends, wide receiver, 1 running back. Okay, who's available? Get out there. No, let's make sure we have good personnel packages. Let's make sure we get good players on the field to insert confusion into the defense, and let's execute. I think this is a smart strategy by Mike Tomlin. Again, under the radar focus, but this is what good leaders do. They set the standard, they improve where they can improve, and I expect the Steelers offense to be more efficient because of it.
Yeah, Nick, and I think this is crucial going down the stretch for the Steelers. We're talking about a team 8-3 here. They're looking like they're definitely playoff bound as of right now. But you look at the rest of their schedule for this season, it is tough. It is no easy task for the Steelers. They have the Bengals, the Browns, who we can't underestimate. The Browns, obviously, they just beat us. Eagles, they got the Ravens, a tough team. They beat the Ravens, but the Ravens, another tough team. It's going to be close games there. Chiefs, and then the Bengals again. It is not an easy way down the rest of the stretch for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think going through, I think fine-tuning everything, making everything 100%, making sure you have the right personnel, right play calling, right packages on the field is going to be crucial at this tough of a junction for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a lot of tough games and a lot of things can happen. With 6 games left of the season, you lose all 6 games, you're no longer a shoo-in to get to that playoff spot. So I think this is a team definitely not going to lose all 6 games. That's, pretty ridiculous. But the point is, this is a team that has a tough road ahead. So they need to start to buckle in. They need to get their crap together going down the road when they're playing these tougher teams, because you can maybe run over some of these lesser opponents with subpar personnel on the field, but not when you get to these better teams, not when you get to these higher level defenses. Cleveland Browns got a great defense. Baltimore Ravens, they've got some tough guys on defense. Eagles defense looking really good as well. This is just a really tough stretch for the Steelers. So I think it's more important now than ever that they get all of these things figured out and they can be successful for the rest of the season come playoff time.